Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's appointment at act as advisors to this board. Valerie Manzo, who is counsel to this board, will be here in a little while. We have Peter Hans, who is a planner in the planning department. To his left is John Bongino, town building director. Now let me tell you why you're here tonight. New York State statute requires that any board that adopts zoning must also have a board of appeals to act as a relief valve so that those persons agreed by strict application of the zoning ordinance can seek relief without the expense of going to court. Town board can give Board of Appeals additional powers, such as special exception approvals, site plan approvals, etc. In Smithtown, the town board has given this board authority regarding certificate of existing use and some special exception uses. The most common kind of application before us are area variances. Area variants deal with dimensions such as lot area, frontage, height, setbacks, and parking spaces. The New York State statute mandates that the board must consider the 5 criteria in area variances. When you come to the podium to present your application, you need to address these 5 areas. They're posted here for you. Number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created. Number 2, whether the applicant has other feasible alternatives. Number 3, whether the variance is substantial. Number 4, whether an adverse impact on the environment will be created. And number 5, whether the alleged difficulty is self-created. The statute requires for the board to balance the interest of the applicant and those of the neighborhood or community. This statute further requires that the board shall grant the minimum variance shall deem necessary and adequate, and at the same time preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood and the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The board has the power to impose reasonable conditions for granting variances. Use variance is so rare that we won't describe one unless there's some application before us. Special exception applications are different than area variances. When we have a special exception application, I will explain the different criteria. Regarding procedure, cases will be called in order that they are advertised. When your case is called, please come forward, submit your affidavits and mailing receipts to Mr. Hans, and then you will be sworn in at the podium and be given the opportunity to explain to this board why you need the variance. After the applicant is done speaking, all interested parties will be given one opportunity and only one opportunity to be heard. So please, organize your thoughts, keep your remarks factual that are related to the case. Then I will ask the applicant to come back to the podium to answer your concerns. The board will then close the case and reserve the decision. After all the hearings are closed, the board will review the cases and decide some of them. Others will be reviewed at a later date. There are 3 ways you can find out the results of the case. Number 1, you can wait until after the public hearing, but there's no guarantee that the board will act on your case tonight. Number 2, you can call the planning department tomorrow afternoon. Number 3, applicants can wait and be notified by mail. Okay. The first case is there is a special exception. A special exception is a permitted use if they meet all the criteria. If they meet all the criteria, the board has to approve it. If they don't meet the criteria, then they have to ask for variances. All right? So the first case is case 16412, Gerald Axelrod, 66 Haunted Road, Comac. Location, west side of Haunted Road, north of Veterans Memorial Highway, Comac. Property zone PB and R43. Request special exception to permit a building larger than 2,500 square feet in PB zoning, 5,392 square feet. Reduce parking setback from 6 feet to 5 feet south. Reduce the minimum driveway width from 20 feet to 13. Reduce required truck loading spaces from 1 to 0. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Wayne Edwards, Abrams Frensteman, 1111 Marcus Avenue, Lake Success, New York. I'm the attorney for the applicant. At this time, I'd like to submit our mailing affidavits and proof.
Right, please, thank you. I'm going to ask you if you'd like to take the mic out so that it will be easier for you to speak.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
The applicant, Gerald Axelrod, is the owner of the property located at 66 Harned Road, Comac, New York. It's known as Section 119, Block 1, Lot 8 on the land and tax map of Suffolk County. It's located in the PB and R43 zone on the official zoning map of the town of Smithtown. The applicant purchased the property in 1987. It was an existing Cape Cod type house on a lot that was zoned NB and R43. Unclip this. They made an application to the town of Smithtown to change the NB zone to a PB zone, went through the planning process and Board of Zoning Appeals process for proposed addition and renovation to the house. That was approved by the various boards, and a certificate of occupancy was eventually issued April 14th, 1989. I believe that's in your records and has been previously submitted for a two-story addition of 1,475 square feet and 957 feet on the second floor. We're before you today, as indicated, for a special exception and 3 variances. Specifically, the special exception is to permit a building larger than 2,500 square feet in the PB zoning district. That will bring the house up to, or the structure up to 5,392 square feet. While it appears that the CO refers to the alterations and addition, the building that was approved was over 4,392 square feet when it was initially approved. No further additions or renovations have been done to the house other than within the existing structure that existed in 1988. What we're basically doing is we've taken the storage area in the basement or lower level and converted it into office. When my client was in the preparation of selling the property, he realized that there was a discrepancy, and we're before you today to the board to basically approve 732 square feet, additional 732 square feet. The first variance we're seeking is to reduce the parking setback on the south side of the property from 6 feet to 5 feet. All of the variances that we're requesting have existed that way since 1988. We don't know why there was a difference. On the original site plan, it probably was 6 feet, either when the parking lot was installed, maybe the installation was an error, but there is a 1-foot differential that was picked up in the examination in 2011. So we're seeking a 1-foot variance for that. It's well landscaped. The trees and buffer have grown in. Mrs. Orlando, who lives to the south of us, has been a good neighbor. We've been a good neighbor to Mrs. Orlando. There's also a Dunkin' Donuts there. They can't see our property from their property. We've spoken to Mrs. Orlando, and she basically had no problems with this application. She's been our neighbor since the time of the application. The second variance is to reduce the minimum unobstructed entrance of the exit driveway width from 20 feet to 13 feet. Again, we have made no alterations to the driveway when it was originally constructed. The entranceway is 20 feet, but as you take the driveway into the rear parking lot, between the house and the sideline, that always narrowed down to a 13-foot. So there have been no changes since that point in time. So again, we're legalized something that was part of the original CO, but again, it's good that the town picked up these things and are requesting variances for them. The third variance is not providing a truck loading space. That was a requirement, again, in 1988. We never had a truck loading space on the plan. The offices are PB in nature. We get deliveries by Federal Express, UPS. No big trucks come onto the property. And we've always been able to handle truck loading and unloading in the rear of the property, off of the street, without needing a truck loading space. The building that exists there today does conform with the site plan approval, which was issued by the Board of Site Plan Review at its meeting held on June 28, 1988. You have a copy of the letter or the approval within your package. It really is a very attractive building that we've done. I think it exceeds the expectation of what the board thought it was in 1988. I don't know if you have a copy of this picture, which is the front.
We do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have it in color? Oh.
I don't, do we have it in color?
If you need it in color, I'll show it. But it shows a very attractive property. It's well maintained. The board at that point in time, in terms of their decision, wanted it to be residential in nature, well irrigated, and look like a residential house. My client has done that since 1988, and it has melded in with the community. The area around it is both commercial and residential. That's it.
That's it.
And I think it looks better than my house, to be honest with you. The area around it on the southwest corner is a Dunkin' Donuts. On the southeast corner is a gas station. East of that is a shopping center. North of the gas station is a 3-story commercial building, and then there are residential houses. Some of the houses are used, have a little commercial nature to them, but we haven't had any problems with that either. So my client has blended in. The PB zone has done exactly what the PB zone has done. My client's rear of the property in the R43 district has stayed wooded, and it fronts back on the Sunken Meadow Parkway. The tenants in the building are my client. He's a licensed architect, Comac Consultation Group, a photography studio that's been there for years, a physical therapy group, and a chiropractor. Regarding the standards that you require for area variances, whether there would be an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood, or a detriment. As I indicated, we've existed there since 1988. You can see by the pictures we look residential in nature. We're not changing the structure at all, just utilizing the basement portion. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue. Not really. This is a basement area with the high taxes and maintenance costs in Suffolk County and in the state of New York. We need the extra income. Whether the requested variance is this substantial, it's a little over 700 square feet on a property of this size. It doesn't impose impact on the property or on the neighborhood. We have adequate parking. We're not asking for a parking variance. And it will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood because of the reasons I just gave. Regarding the special exception, since I'll have to go to those standards. Basically, they kind of mirror, as you indicated, the larger house is permitted if we meet the special exception standards in 32294G. The use will be in harmony, or is in harmony. It meets the PB district and promote the general purpose and intent of the of Section 32294. The plot area is sufficient in size. It's a large acreage. In fact, we don't use almost 30% of it, which is in the R43 zone. It's been heavily wooded. We have good buffers on both sides and a good front yard setback. The use will not prevent the orderly and reasonable use of adjacent properties. They have already been developed. The houses are there. The commercial properties are there, and everything seems to be in harmony. The site is suitable because it is close to the, in terms of the PB zone, it is a mixture of commercial and residential, a residential look with commercial uses, and that fits into that area because of the reasons I explained. The use isn't unsuitably near a church, school, theater, recreational area, other place of public assembly. The use conforms to the definition in 322.3. There is access facilities. The curb cuts existed there. We haven't had any problems exiting or entering the site on Harnett Road. There's adequate buffer areas and screening provided. And there have been adequate provisions made for the runoff of stormwater sewers. Our drainage system works fine. It's loose, porous soil, and plus we have the necessary dry wells as reviewed. in 1988 by the town building department, as well as my client who's a licensed architect. And that's, and the proposed use and development will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment for the reasons I gave. So that, if the board doesn't have any questions, that basically concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much. Planning?
Madam Chair, since it is a special exception request, the Planning Department has prepared a planning advisory report for you. I would agree 100% with Mr. Edwards' presentation. Everything that he mentioned is pretty much covered in the advisory report. We are recommending approval of the requests with one condition. The special exception request, we're recommending approval with the condition that this is subject to approval by the Board of Site Plan Review. It requires building permits, and then must comply with New York State Building Code. Since it is office area in the basement, we want to make certain that it's safe and complies with building code. As far as the variances, we're recommending approval of the three of them.
Okay, thank you so much. Gentlemen?
No question.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
It's really moved in second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I just want you to know there's no decision tonight. All right? We're waiting for a secret determination. Okay? Thank you. Go ahead. No. You want to have everything? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Next case is case 16413, NCTC LLC, 357 Middle Country Road, Smithtown. Location, northwest corner of Middle Country Road and Lindner Place, Smithtown, property zone WSI. Request variance to reduce required landscaping area between parking and front property line from 8% to 3%. Reduce the minimum parking setback on Lindner Place from 20 feet to 6. Increase the maximum allowable display area for motor vehicle sales from 3 times building area to 8 times. And your name, please.
My name is Stephen Canada. I'm the owner of NCTC Realty.
Okay, let me have your address, Stephen.
11 Bareback Court, Nessaquag.
I'm sorry.
11
And-
Bareback, Nessaquag.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Spell your last name.
Cannata.
Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes, I would like my architect, Mark Mancini.
Hi, I'm Mark Mancini, 222 Middle Country Road, Smithtown, New York.
And I guess spell your last name, Mark.
Mancini.
Okay, and your address? You just give me your address?
Yeah, well, I'll give you my home address or not. 19 Cornell Avenue, Smithtown.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Today I think a lot of people are familiar with this building. This is the old Smithtown Plumbing Building, which is on Middle Country Road. It's right next to Mr. Kanada's Toyota truck dealership right now. That was approved a few years back. And you can see the nice job that they did on that lot if you look at the aerial photograph. If you look at the lot that is next door, you'll see that there's a 40-foot buffer at the rear at the maximum part of it, and it tapers down. What we're looking to do is demo this building, which is quite old and quite derelict at this point. It hasn't been used in a number of years. Clear the lot, clear all the old concrete paving, and redo the buffer zone in the rear, and redo all the up landscaping and curbing and paving throughout this whole area. The variances that we're seeking actually conform to the lots that are next door. If you could see the front, we're reducing the 8% to 3% landscaping, but we're actually increasing the landscaping. If you look at the aerial photograph of the existing plumbing, there's basically parking on that whole front area, all paved, right to the corner. The new design that we're coming up with will be landscaped with tree-lined right to the curb. It'll be a nice look. If you're familiar with this area, it's kind of hill going up or coming down, whichever direction you're coming from. The apron for the site right now, the entranceway, is pretty much that whole length you can pull into. We're actually going to redefine that and have a defined entrance, and we're going to do a side entrance on Linder Place. And we redid all the landscaping on Linder Place as well. If you could see, it's pretty much overgrown. It's just a lot of stuff that's just not controlled right now. We're going to reduce the minimum setback from Linden Place. The 20-foot, because this is a corner lot and it's on that side road, we're looking to get a 6-foot buffer on that, but redo the whole thing so it works out well. If you look at the aerial photograph again, you'll notice that it's in and out all over the place over the years, and it's right on the line for the most part. So we're actually increasing for most of the length of that whole area. The rear yard, we are going to have that 40-foot buffer that pretty much goes in line. If you look at C1, you'll see it's in line with the existing Toyota truck dealership that's right next door. We're going to put alternating trees in the back of that, 6-foot high, 8-foot on center. And then the ultimate goal of this is to eventually put a building at one point on this lot. It will not be a completely paved lot forever, and it will become a taxable building at hopefully in the next 5 years or so. Right now, we just want to dress up the lot and get it going. If there's any questions, please.
I do have a question.
Sure.
I see you have new employees in customer parking area.
Mm-hmm.
These people that are customers, are they customers for this building here, the trucking, or is it for across the street?
It's for the truck used car center.
All right. So you're not expecting these people to cross the street to go?
Oh, no, 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 not at all.
Okay,
Especially me.
exactly. Okay. Planning? You need to know, please. I'm sorry.
I guess the best thing for me is possibly to explain some of the requests. Originally, Mr. Mancini came to the office and he just showed the one parcel that has the existing plumbing building on it. For zoning purposes, he had to include all 3 parcels because he needed to have a building, a principal use for the site. So we recommended that he basically combine the site, and as you're aware, zoning limits the amount of outdoor storage to 3 times the size of a building. We're basing the storage area on the size of the truck center. So based on the calculations here, it's coming to the 8 times the size of the building. So I just wanted to explain where that was coming from. As far as the parking setback to Linder Place, this is pretty typical of most of the corner car dealerships. The Nissan dealership has a 6-foot side to Arlington, as well as the Honda dealership. Competition Infiniti has a 6-foot setback to Jefferson, and the Mitsubishi dealership, which used to be the Dodge dealership, has that setback to Astor. That's really the comments now. I mean, other concerns would be lighting and buffering to any residents that would be on Franklin or Lindner, and to ensure that employees actually park on the site. I know there's been comments in the past, about them being all over Middle Country Road, and it's sometimes causing a problem because that's right where the 2 lanes merge into one, and if there's truck loaders out there as well, it gets a little dangerous. Thank you.
Okay. Gentlemen?
I'm okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right. All right, there are no questions, so, all right. Is there anything else you need?
No, I think that's it. The only thing I could add is, you know, when we address the lighting, of course, we're going to, you know, do our best to keep the lighting, you know, as we always do, straight down and not shining up into the.
Well, it's required, so you're
That's
going to,
right, right.
you're going
Go
to
with
have,
the
it's going to
requirements,
be
correct.
straight down. Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Come up, please. May I have your name, please?
Joseph Rezendi,
Spell your last name.
Rezende.
May I have your address, please?
16 Lindner Place, Smithtown.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Well, I have a couple of concerns on the application. Number one is going from 3 times the size to 8 times the size for the display area. I'm afraid it's not going to be 8 times the size. It's going to be more like 12 times the size. And I've come to this determination by the existing sites which the applicant owns. They recently did the truck building, where they claimed that they were going to have employee parking along the retaining wall, which my property is directly behind both of these sites. And obviously, there's no employee parking. They're all new cars. I have pictures, and I have copies of the site plan which depict this. They park in the fire zones. They park in the handicap zones. They park up on a curb, which I just took these pictures on Sunday. So my concern is if you go from 3 to 8, it's not going to be 8. It's going to be a lot more. And I'm not making an accusation. I'm just going by past history, which is the only thing I have to use. I also have pictures of the site across the street, which has the same type of violations. As far as the lighting, where they said they were going to be shielded down, I know Mr. Mancini wasn't.
Yes.
Okay.
Address this board. And first of all, if you're going to hand in those pictures, let me just tell you, go back, please. Just let me just tell you before you hand anything in, that everything has to be labeled, so.
It's labeled.
It's all labeled in the front?
Yes.
Okay, I appreciate that. Go ahead, Seth.
As far as the lighting goes, I have pictures where I've asked for the lights to be, they added lights, first of all. They put up a light in the buffer zone, which they weren't allowed to have, unshielded, not directed down. They were asked numerous times by code enforcement to shut the lights off. It's shining into my backyard. They would refuse to do anything, which the pictures depicted. My backyard is lit up. Now, I happen to have a pretty deep piece of property. It's 400 feet deep. The proposed site is directly alongside my house now, and the same condition is I feel, is going to occur. My property is lower than the existing site from anywhere from 6 to 3 feet. It varies because it does slope, which if you go with an 18-foot light pole, it's going to have a worse effect on my property. I don't have a problem with them developing the parking lot. The place needs to be done. I don't have a problem with them fixing it up. But I do have a problem when I have a concern and I asked to have the lights taken down. They not only didn't take them down, they added the light pole in the back after I went to the town. And it seems to me there's an inability on code enforcement's end, which is not your concern, to do anything about it. And the lights are on. So I don't know why. I'm not looking for a benefit for my house, but I'm also not looking for any negative effect by him developing the property. And that's about all I have.
Okay. And if you're going to hand me those pictures, do you have them labeled?
Yes.
Okay. You can't talk unless you go to the mic. They are not labeled. Go back. They are not labeled. I need, first of all, you got to tell me exactly where this is, who took the pictures. No.
Well, what I did was I made a plan of where I.
Okay, You need to tell me who took the pictures, the date you took the pictures, okay? And what the picture is, and then we'll put them in the file, and we'll look at them a little bit later. You have these also, too?
Yes, they're all the same. so I'll
Okay,
have to-
you got to, yeah, spend some time lately, all right?
All right.
Okay. Are you coming to speak too? All right, come up, please.
Thank you.
May I have your name, please?
James D. Lambert,
James, spell your last name.
Lambert,
Your address, please.
17 Lindner Place in Smithtown.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. I live next to the residents that just spoke just now, and it is a lot of inconvenience for making a right turn on from Linda Place to Jericho, where they're parking right now. The lighting in my backyard, which is set back next to the gentleman just spoke, it is lit up, and the quality of life of where they want to set it back will be deteriorated for a great amount of deal between the Guide Dog Foundation, where they're doing an entrance right now, where they have it right now, where cars coming out late at night. It's a very difficult situation and safety for not just me and my family, but for everybody else right now. They're parking in front of Linda Place where they're not supposed to, and they're parking also in front of the Guide Dog Foundation, which is difficult to make a left turn or a right turn on that corner. And that's one of my major concerns right now. The back set, where they're talking about the lighting, it is lit up, and it is disturbing the area. And there's a wood lot that they might have showed you on the plan there, that the buffer zone that they may say. I can see the cars that you just put right now during the winter time right now, and it's very disturbing where, once again, I say the quality of life. So I thank you for the time, and I hope they maybe redo their plan so it sets back a little further toward the front of the street on Jericho. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay. Come on, back up. Okay. First of all, I don't know how the board's going to vote, I'm just going to tell you. But we may condition it, those lights are cannot shine into the neighbors.
I had an electrician there looking at these lights, and there's no way that Mr. Azendi's lights are in his daughter's backyard window. I have a certified electrician, if you'd like,
All right.
to testify that there's no way that the lights can hit and shine the way they are pointing down. And I'll do whatever I have to do as a good neighbor to try to point the lights as down as I can. But I do have to have security. There's millions of dollars of cars that are sitting there at night, and I need to secure my lot.
Do you have a light in the buffer zone?
At this point in time, we have lights that are on, you're talking about a completely different site now. You're talking about this other site, correct? Are you talking about the new site?
No, I guess that's what they were complaining about, the older site? Is that what they're complaining
Well,
about?
there's lights on the building that he says are shining in his windows, which I find it hard to believe from where
Okay.
you are. So you really have to have an electrician come down and
Yeah.
look at it with him. I'll do whatever I can to try to accommodate Mr. Azendi, but it's been
Okay.
difficult. He slowed up projects on me before.
All right, I'm
it's
not
been-
into that. I'm just telling you, is there a light in the buffer zone? That's what I'm asking you. Is there a light in the buffer zone?
I don't know what the buffer zone is, but if there is, I'll point it down as far as I possibly can.
I don't believe you can even have a light in the buffer zone.
I don't know.
Right.
If it's there, it's been there. If it's there, it's
Okay.
been there, so.
Just let me just tell you, there may be some conditions put on this. I have no idea how the board's going to vote, but I'm just going to tell you, there may be some conditions put on as far as the lighting is concerned.
Sure, we understand.
Okay.
Whatever it takes.
But, I mean, I think Mr. Kanata's trying to say, he will work to make sure the lighting is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the other concerns, making a right from Linden Place, I think was Linden Place. I believe, and it's my feeling, that this new plan actually, in eliminating the parking right up front in the lot and basically putting all this new renovation in, is actually going to correct that problem, which I think is a good thing. Because,
With the parking issue on the other gentleman.
yeah,
I think if we do this plan the way we,
Use the mic.
If we do the plan the way we have it designed, I think that'll eliminate a lot of the other problems that the other gentleman, the other neighbor had.
We no longer can park right up to the road, which is good.
All right, we'll take everything into consideration. Any other questions, gentlemen?
No question.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Right. I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
It's readily moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Just do everything, and he'll just give it to Mr. Gardula when you're finished. All right? We'll keep that file open. Thank you. Next case is case 16414, Marina Camachi? 185 Southern Boulevard, Wisconsin, location, east side of Southern Boulevard, north of Gaynor Avenue, Wisconsin, property zoned R15. Request variance to reduce minimum front yard setback from 45 feet, 43 feet existing, to 41 for a proposed 71 square foot covered porch and a proposed 1,610 square foot second story addition and a 101 square foot second story balcony. And your name, please?
My name is Marina Camachi, 185 Southern Boulevard, Wisconsin.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Are you going to speak? Yeah. All right, let me have your name.
My name is R. James Olson,
Spell your last name
Olson,
and your address.
185 Southern Boulevard, Wisconsin.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
At this time, may I turn in the...
Yes, you need to turn. Do you have all the,
Do you want the individual receipts?
we do.
Okay.
All the green cards, everything. Yep. I need this, I'm sorry. All right, everything all right? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Thank you. In 1942, James and Tilly Weary built the original structure of 22 by 24 feet. That particular part of the structure seems to be set back about 46 feet. 2 years later, in 44, they added an addition that was approximately 15 by 26 feet. That addition off to the north side of the original structure sticks forward approximately 31.7 feet back from the right-of-way. What our plan is to take the existing single-story structure and add a second floor. The problem is that front wall of the 1944 addition is set back 31.7 feet. Also, we have an existing front porch, and we would like to put a second porch on it so that the second floor is served by a porch.
Okay.
That's the extent.
Okay. I noticed when I looked at these this week, and I think that's what is concerning the environmental department. You have 2 kitchens. Are you removing one kitchen?
Yes. When we purchased the house, we were told that it was a legal 2-family, and we pay, our tax bill comes as a legal 2-family from the county of Suffolk. However, when we talk with the town of Smithtown, they don't have us as a legal 2-family. In fact, they changed us from an R21, which is a single-family structure with an accessory apartment, to an R15, which is a single-family structure. When we purchased the home, apparently the owner might have been occupying the front half. When we saw it, we never saw any furniture there. but we had tenants in the back half. They're now gone. We bought the house with the intention that my wife's mother and father would be living in the back because he had Alzheimer's and we wanted to take care of him. But since then, he's died. But we're still anticipating that my mother-in-law will be living in the back half. We learned that we're not supposed to have an apartment unless a family member is living in it. So right now, it's a weird catch-22. We want to have a legal apartment in the back for her, but we were told she has to already be there. So on the plans, we're showing the existing kitchen as it is now, but we're not exactly sure the right thing to do since we need the kitchen for her to live there. And then we were told once she has proof that she's residing there, then we can get the CO. Yeah, my reaction also.
I don't understand, why didn't they come in here for a special exception for mother-daughter?
No, we're not. We're
Why
only
not?
because our project is removing that kitchen until
Yes.
we get a firm commitment from her mother that she's going to live there. Until then, it's going to be my home office. We're here because we want to put our master bathroom over that existing front room, and we really don't want to cantilever the weight of what a bathroom would have. We want to have the front gable end wall resting directly above the foundation.
And you know you can't have a legal apartment.
Right. We need that kitchen to be there so that when they come to inspect, they know that the plumbing rough-in we're going to have like a slop sink, because we can't do a project, do walls, and not have the plumbing there. We can't take the plumbing out, have her mother move in, and not have a sink.
John? You can say something, sure.
I think the apartment issue, right now, that's not what we're planning to do. I need to have that addressed with my mom first. I don't know if she's going to be willing to move in, so that's not really our concern. The apartment, that would have to be a separate issue altogether. Right now, we want to get the second floor put on the house, and when it comes time to make the decision of my mother moving in, we'll have to take that at that point, if it's something that's allowed. So that's what I have.
Okay.
The process would be that we consider it in our records from quickly looking, show it as a one-family dwelling. What happened there or what the owner did, I'm not aware of. I'm just saying what our records show. The process would be that you would go for the special exception, and then you say it was granted, building permit, and then a CO. It seems like it's turned around a little here. What you could do, I guess you're saying you want it with one kitchen right now, but put the rough plumbing in so that if everything goes well, you don't have to rip open the sheetrock to put it in.
What we're planning on doing is taking out the existing kitchen sink and just putting in a bar sink so that we're not allowed to have the rough-in for the plumbing just sit there. So we have to have it attached to something for the inspection. So what we're going to do is just remove the kitchen completely that's already back there since there's water damage. And we're just going to put in a slop sink type thing, a bar sink, since no one's really going to be using the sink at all.
Okay, but the house, if everything was well, at this time, according to these plans, there would be one kitchen only, correct?
That's it,
Very good.
correct.
You could have plumbing there, and you can have a bar sink. There's nothing against having a bar sink in an area. But the house would be built with one kitchen, then you would continue on with the process with the special exception, new permit, second kitchen go in, inspections, and CO.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Planning, any other questions? I think that's what, I think that's why we don't have a secret.
The environmental department was unsure because they saw the 2 kitchens and I guess 5 bathrooms. They were leery on whether or not it was an accessory apartment. and there was no special exception request. So, you know, our only concern is that they're aware that if there is a temporary living quarters, it does require you to come back to this board. It's a special exception, like the first case tonight, and then they go through the criteria. You know, there's square footage limitations and doors for that unit. You know, they don't want 2 front doors on the front of a house, that kind of thing.
We also had to submit an application to the health department for a new septic system.
Okay.
And that application was approved for a single-family home, so.
Do you know if that was approved by the health department?
Yes, it was approved. We do have the permit.
I would recommend, because this board can't make a decision until they get an approval from the environmental department called a SECRA. So they're waiting for a couple things. Well, primarily they're waiting for the minutes from tonight's meeting because they want to review it. If you have that health department approval, I'd recommend you contact the environmental department and give them that permit. That'll probably satisfy a lot of their concerns.
Okay, yeah. We have the originals at home, so.
And with any luck, you know, they'll be ready to act by the next meeting in 2 weeks.
All right?
Yep.
Thanks. Any other questions, gentlemen? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Barely moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Next case is case 16415, Joan Pistano, 2060 Willets Path, Smithtown location, west side of Old Willets Path, south of Mulberry Lane, Smithtown property zone R43. Request variance to reduce minimum front yard setback from 60 feet, 48 existing, to 44 for an existing 24 square foot portico. Reduce the side yard setback from 24 to 7, and total side yard from 60 to 50 for an existing 208 square foot accessory structure. Reduce the side yard setback 24 feet to 23 for an existing 47 square foot addition to a pool cabana. And your name, please.
Joan Fasano,
And your address, Joan?
293 Harned Road, Comac, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes, please.
Good evening. My name is Michael Morbillo, architect, 301 7th Avenue, St. James, New York.
Just spell your last name.
Morbillo.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, the application before you this evening is, as you mentioned, is for some existing non-conforming structures. Primarily, we have a front portico, a 4-foot portico, which was added onto the house sometime with approximately 15 years ago. And there was already an existing 48-foot setback, which was non-conforming. This is now pushed in another 4 feet to a 44-foot setback. This represents about a 27% encroachment, so we don't believe it's substantial. It's not substantial. Secondly, there's also an existing shed that's adjacent to a pool in the rear yard. That shed is housing a pool pump and some pool equipment. The yard is very deep, as you can see on the survey, and location of an accessory structure in the rearmost portion of the yard would not suit my client's needs. So therefore, it's within that, it's not in the required rear yards. So for that reason, it becomes part of the main structure, the main building setback. So we're asking for reduction for a 24 to 7 on that. Thirdly, there's an existing cabana that's on the property. They placed a very small foyer on the cabana, which is
approximately 47 square feet. So it's an existing non-conforming structure. It's supposed to have a setback of 24 feet. It's 23. It's a negligible request. And basically, we're not changing the character of the neighborhood. We're not, we don't have any other means of taking care of it. It's not an environmental impact. And for these reasons, we're seeking approval on these matters. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Okay. You know that I visit all the sites,
Yes,
okay? So we did go to this site.
yes,
And your pool cabana
yes.
is not a pool cabana. It
Yes.
is,
It was being rented out.
it was?
Yes.
It is, there's a full kitchen in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
There's, electric. So I want to know what you're removing from that.
We're removing, there was electric originally approved. We're removing the plumbing, and the cabana, which had been rented out, is no longer being rented out. My client wasn't aware, it wasn't allowed to be rented out. She made arrangements, and the tenant's been removed. And we will certainly accept any conditions on the application that requires inspection of the cabana in the future or at any other time prior to CO or any time thereafter for approval. But she's now aware that she's not allowed to have that in there.
Right. I mean, you have, my understanding, you can't have a stove. You're going to have to remove that kitchen.
My client's also mentioning that when she purchased it, even though it's not approved that way, that it was that way when she purchased. She just wanted to make that note. She didn't add in the kitchenette that's in there.
But it's still her responsibility.
Yes, we're aware.
Okay. John, as far as a pool cabana, what are they allowed to have in that pool cabana?
Well, there's no set criteria, or I can quote a section of the code to say what it can or cannot have. I'll say a normal cabana does not have a kitchen, does not have heating. It would have a bathroom, sometimes a shower. But the other elements that would give it the look of a separate detached dwelling, it does not have.
So we'd be perfectly willing to, again, remove the kitchenette. As far as any other plumbing facilities that might support, as Mr. Bongino was stating, a typical pool cabana, those would probably remain. Those remain. Also, heating and electricity. Again, there was a permit in the past to convert it from a garage to a cabana, which was back in 1994.
And it was approved with heating?
It was approved. Yeah, it was approved.
With heating?
You know what? The application doesn't state with heating on it, but certainly, I think that would be a condition of whatever's typical and required by Mr. Bongino.
Okay.
If we need to go back to restore it to the 94 approval, we would do so. And certainly we'd accept that as a condition for CO.
Okay. Planning?
As you're aware, there is no secret determination from the Environmental Department. There's a memo in the packets. Basically, the Environmental Department had two comments. The design of the outside cellar entrance and the large window well suggests that the cellar space may be used for residential purposes, independent of the main dwelling. They're requesting a floor plan which accurately indicates the use of the space. And the second comment was that the size of the cabana and its location away from the pool and the designation of the existing shed as a pool house on sheet A3 of the legalization plan suggests that the cabana may be used for residential purposes. It is recommended that the applicant be required to submit floor plans. I think they addressed those comments tonight. But I just wanted the board to be aware you cannot act on this application because there is no secret, because the Environmental Department is concerned about those comments.
We can certainly provide a floor plan for the basement. I believe portions of it are finished, so if we need to, if there's something down there that needs to be legalized, we can certainly add that in. I wasn't aware of the basement, the environmental concerns on it, so. She wants to say, she says it's not finished, but we can, you know, obviously there's a window there, so, and then the window well. Okay. So we can provide a floor plan.
Okay.
If, and on the judgment of an inspection, if it's deemed that there are portions, we will,
I don't know if the
legalize it.
floor plan's necessary. I
Yeah.
guess they just want to know that the first floor of the house is in one dwelling, the cellar a second, and then the cabana a third, that, you know, it's really three
Correct.
apartments.
No, it's a one-family dwelling.
Okay, any other questions, gentlemen?
What's the cabana to be used for? It's kind of not near the pool.
It was, you know, it was CO'd as a cabana, so the previous owner, I think, must have had a purpose for it. She purchased the house with it as a cabana, so we've labeled it as it's been CO'd.
What, I guess, I'm
Yeah.
asking, what does your client intend on doing with it afterwards?
I'm going to say storage. She's mentioned storage. She just whispered basically storage at this point, you know. I think also, if, you know, need be, if she wants to utilize it as a cabana space, she would, but primarily storage.
Thank you.
I could give, sorry, I could give you a little history. According to the building department's card, it was started out as a garage built in 1961. And then the building card says in 1994 that the garage was converted to a cabana. 440 square feet is an accessory use to a one-family dwelling. So that's, that explains the setback. It started out as a garage, and then in 94, somehow they got it converted to a cabana, and I guess it was kind of used as rental space at some point.
Is the pool, are you able to use the pool?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any other questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Lady moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Next case is case 16416, Timothy and Amy Kennedy, 285 7th, thank you so much, 285 7th Avenue, St. James. Location, southeast corner of 4th Street and 7th Avenue, St. James. Property zone R10. Request variance to reduce the minimum side yard from 12 feet to 8. Reduce the rear yard from 35 feet to 26 for proposed 531 square foot first floor addition. Reduce the minimum front yard, 4th Street, from 25 feet to 0 for proposed 5-foot fence. And your name, please.
I'm Tim Kennedy,
Okay, and your address, Tim?
285 7th Avenue,
Okay.
St. James.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. Okay, let me have your name again,
sure.
please.
Michael Morbillo, 301 7th Avenue, St. James, New York.
Right. Mike, you've been sworn in already. So.
Okay, great. First, I'd like to start off with an amendment to the application. We have 3 requests, and we're going down to 2 requests. The first request was to reduce the minimum side yard from 12 feet to 8 feet. And there's been a modification in the design, a smaller addition proposed since the time of the application. So I have the drawings just to show, illustrate, but we'd like to amend the application to remove that request.
So you're going from side yard just to 12 feet, am I correct?
Yeah, 12 feet. The existing side yard is approximately 14.7 feet. So we're not going to be. There was an addition proposed to the east and to the south. Now it'll just be to the east, and I will bring up a drawing just to illustrate that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so. Okay. All right. You want me to just mark this as new as far as, so you know which one? Okay, so this is the new one here. Okay, you can look at this, these gentlemen, you can share this. Go ahead, Blanchett, we have, this is the new one, so. Look at this now. Okay. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
So the application is for an addition. Primarily, it's for to expand a master bedroom. Initially, the application was to expand the master bedroom to the east and small addition to a couple of existing bedrooms to the south. So we've revised the application to be just an expansion to the master bedroom, which is to the east. So that's the application, the updated site plan, which I've put before you. And that addition will basically reduce the required rear yard from 35 feet to 26 feet, which is approximately a 25% encroachment. So the request is not substantial. The other request before you is to reduce the front yard setback for a proposed 5-foot stockade fence. If you've been to the site, you've seen that there's already an existing 4-foot stockade fence that's close to the property line. Where our original request was for a 5-foot fence, not a 6-foot fence, to be 1 foot off of the property line, but since that gets rounded, it's now before you as 0 feet. So we are coming before you knowing that this board is aware of fence setbacks in the area and the character, and we're asking for your discretion as far as for an approval for the setback for a 5-foot fence. We're certainly not, we're not looking to do a 6-foot fence. We're just looking to add in a little bit more privacy with an extra foot without having to do substantial planting, and it gets a little costly in that. And they have children, so they're a security feature too. Have the fence, and there is some plantings nearby, but we just want to have the fence and not proposing a lot of planting for budgetary purposes. So we're coming before you really with a 1-foot request, but again, knowing that you're familiar with this is a second front yard. As you can see on the site plan, the other fence does not, that's along the front face of the house, does not protrude past the front of the house. It's actually set back from the front face of the house, so this does have a sort of a rear yard character to it. And so we're looking for your discretion as far as the request before you this evening. And if there's any questions at this time, to go through it again, this is not going to create environmental impact. The setbacks are consistent. There's a lot of different one-story homes. It's very consistent with the neighborhood, the character and nature of the neighborhood. It's not a substantial request for the addition, and there's no other means of adding on to the master bedroom due to its location on the house. If the board has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them at this time.
Okay. Just let me tell you, I do have a concern about the fence. I will probably make a recommendation that the fence is moved back somewhat.
Okay.
We were at the property.
Yes.
And you're going, I know you're putting a new fence in.
Yes.
So, and you had, your neighbor has a driveway there. right there. So
Mhm.
it's only on 4th Street that I'm a little bit concerned
I understand.
of moving it in a little bit so that they, when they pull out of their driveway, they are able to see the road.
Yes.
I don't know what the other board members will recommend, but we may give you, you know, not 25 to 0. We may ask you to move it back just somewhat,
I understand.
okay? Planning, do you have any recommendations or anything? No? Okay. Gentlemen? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Was there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing now, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
30 moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, I just have, these are the new ones. All the new ones. Next case is case 16417, Thomas and Chris Nino, 7 Lawn Oak Path, Smithtown location, south side of Lawn Oak Path, east of Legion Drive, Smithtown, property zone R21. Request variance to reduce the minimum side yards from 16 feet to 8, reduce total side yard from 34 feet to 25, for a 332 square foot pool house. Increase the maximum paving in the rear yard from 25% to 35%. Increase the maximum paving in the front yard from 25% to 31%. May I have your name, please?
Tommy Nino,
And your address, Tommy?
7D Lone Oak Path, Smithtown, New York.
Right. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Would you like this lady to speak for you?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, you definitely have to move that mic down. May I have your name, please?
Yes. Good evening. Glynis Vitalone of Mark Anthony Associates, 1499 Belmore Avenue, North Belmore, New York, 11710.
Spell your last name.
Vidalon.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. You want to tell us why you're here, please?
I'm appearing as agent for owner Mr. Nino of 70 Lone Oak Path, Smithtown. We are requesting a variance to maintain a pool house, which has a side yard of 8.5 feet on the west side, which is 9.5 feet less than the required 18. This then reduces the side yard aggregate to 25.4 feet, which is 8.6 feet less than the required 34 feet. The pool house was originally a utility shed that was converted to a pool house about 5 years ago. We are also looking to maintain an increase in both the front and rear pavings. The front yard paving was originally 300 square feet. Around 2005, the owner expanded his paving for an approximate total of 500 square feet, increasing the maximum paving to 31%, which is greater than 25% allowed. The rear yard paving consists of a concrete court, which is 2,250 square feet. This concrete court alone is 26%, which is 1% over the 25% required. The other square footages that the building department noted is raised rubber mulch for play area. It's not really concrete paving, so it's permeable, allowing water to pass through, unlike the concrete pavers. The subject around the property is large lots, and there really isn't any obstruction of view from what we're trying to maintain. Also, in the owner, originally the location of the pool house was there, so he just turned it from utility shed to pool house, but in location-wise, he did not put that was there by another past owner. I do have 2 signed consent letters from the neighbors, one abutting the pool house and one abutting the concrete court that I would like to submit.
Thank you.
I guess that's all. The owner has lived in the home since 1996 and recently finalized his open permits to obtain a CO.
What is that, a light?
And we would respectfully ask the board to grant this variance. unless you have any other questions.
Yeah, I noticed that one of the members just handed, you have a light in one of the trees for the court?
Right, that's usually for the night. It's not really ever put on. It's for the kids to play. And Mr. Nino advised me, because one of the owners that actually signed the letter said that he sees the light glares, but he signed the letter and said that's usually not used as much and doesn't bother him. I don't know.
Well, that's very nice, but I don't know if we're going to permit the light to stay.
Okay.
Okay? Planning?
I was just gonna say, this one at least looks like a pool cabana.
Uh,
Compared to the other.
Gentlemen?
No, thanks.
No question.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay. Next case is case 16418, Richard Modica, 6 Harris Court, Comac, location, west side of Harris Court, south of Witchard Boulevard, Comac, property zone R21. Request variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 75 feet to 63 feet for an existing 100 square foot rear addition. Reduce the rear lot line setback from 8 feet to 7 for an existing 144 square foot gazebo. Increase the maximum paved surface in the rear yard from 25% to 30%. And your name,
Good
please.
evening, Richard Modica.
Okay. Would you take the
Sure.
mic out so?
Richard Modica,
And your address, Richard?
6 Harris Court, Comac.
Okay. Will you raise your right hand, please? You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You want to tell us why you're here, please?
I want to submit the
Oh,
plans?
yes. Bring them all over to Mr. Hans, please.
I'm here today for a variance on 3 subjects. One is a 10-foot by 10-foot kitchen extension. The second is a existing gazebo. And the third is a paving in the backyard that exceeds 25%. First, I need to bring to the board's attention that I'm the previous owner of the house, and I've since sold the house. I started this process before the house was sold, and I brought with me my contract for sale and a notarized letter from the property owner saying that it's okay for me to be here this evening. Do you need to see that?
No, but it's nice of you to come before the person that buys the house has to pay for.
Well, it was my issues that brought this upon this evening, so it's my responsibility to take care of this.
Very good. Do we have any pictures of anything else? I just see. Is this the only pictures you submitted?
That's not my house.
That's not your house. This is the wrong application? Yep,
Yes,
this is the
that's
wrong
it.
application. Okay. Yep. All right, wait a minute. Okay. I was going to say, really? Okay, take all this. Let's see, let's take that, goes into that file. Just give us a minute, all right, please?
Take your time.
That's quite all right. Yeah, we still need the application thing. Huh? That's right. We, should I tell everybody it's your birthday and you know, cake? Oh, right. Okay. Now we have the right pictures and everything. Nice. Great. Okay. All right, I'm sorry, go on, get ahead, please.
Okay, about 11 years ago, we had the extension put on the kitchen. It basically replaces a bay window bump out, and it's a 10-foot by 10-foot extension of the dining area. It really couldn't be put in any other part of the yard because to the south was the kitchen sink area, and to the north would have been the den area. So it was the most reasonable spot to put that kitchen extension out of there. That was we hired a licensed Suffolk County contractor to do the work. The gazebo we purchased from a Suffolk County supply company, and they installed on the property. The gazebo, and it seems to be 6 or 8 inches too close to the rear property lot line. So on that application, we're asking for a variance from, I think, 8 feet to 7 feet. And what we back up to is actually town of Smithtown recharge basin, and beyond that is parkland, so I have no backyard neighbor. And the third issue of the paving is when our application was denied, the site inspector had told us we had more than 25% paving. That's how we learned about that, so we added it to this application to do it all in one evening. We had no knowledge of any requirement of 25% paving. That was all installed by a professional bricklayer, probably about the same time the kitchen extension was done, which was all installed when the pool was put in, which we had permits for.
You didn't think you needed a permit for the addition to the kitchen?
Well, we hired no, we didn't. We hired a licensed contractor and probably assumed at the time that since it was just a small addition, and then we went for the as-built permit, and they told us we were too close to the property line. That's why we're looking for that reduction. There's no added heat, there's no added water to that area. The room itself just heats that expanded area.
Okay. Planning? Gentlemen? Okay.
That's good?
That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Ready, moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next case is case 16419, Jennifer and Howard Redmont, 6 Allison Court, Hauppauge, location south side of Allison Court, east of Bow Drive, Hauppauge, property zone R15. Request variance to permit environmentally sensitive land, depth to groundwater less than 10 feet, to be altered. Reduce the setback from a wetland from 100 feet to 14 for a proposed in-ground pool. Reduce setback from a wetland from 100 feet to 0 for a proposed fence. And your name, please.
Howard Redmond. I live at 6 Allison Court. That's in Smithtown, New York. I have the information that you were asking for. Okay.
Okay. Did I swear? I didn't swear you in, right? Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, as I said, I live at 6 Allison Court, which is in Smithtown. It's actually Hog Park, Smithtown. What we're looking to do is put an in-the-ground pool in. It's 20 by 34 feet. The problem that arose with putting this pool in, why we went beyond this, as you know, is because I need a variance because I have wetlands behind my house. There's no houses behind me. It's just a marsh-type area. Now, the DEC, I think, controls that area. I don't
Right.
think. I know they control it. I have a written agreement from the DEC that they're going to allow me to put the pool in. They're comfortable with the plans that we've submitted. So what I'm here for tonight is to also have you folks agree that we can put this pool in. There are other pools in the neighborhood, 2 houses down. I believe there's an in-the-ground pool, and then around the corner there's a couple more pools which all abut against the wetlands. We're not encroaching upon the wetlands. The DEC has certain requirements where they want you to stay back. We're staying well beyond that, so we're not going to go anywhere close to the wetlands. And I've been told of what the rules are as far as those wetlands go. The only other thing I didn't know that they were actually controlled by the DEC when I started this thing. And I think a lot of the neighbors don't know that. The ones that do have the pools, I think, know that. So I don't know if there's a disconnect between the DEC and when you buy the house, what happens. But I can tell you, I bought the house in '95, and on the title or anything, it doesn't say anything as far as that being DEC regulated land, which I have no problem with. It's a lovely neighborhood, but I'd just like to put this pool in.
Do you need the regular permit for the DEC? A copy of it, or a copy of?
Well, you received a memorandum from the Environmental Department. They classified it as a Type 2 action, so
Okay.
therefore the board can act. However, they had a comment that you withhold decision until he receives something from the DEC, whether it's a permit or something saying that a permit's not necessary. So he was saying that he has gone to the DEC.
Yeah, I have a verbal agreement from them. Actually, it just states what their requirements are, that they have no issues with us putting the pool in, and that also they give us a certain amount of things that we need to do as far as staying out of the wetlands and just little, the type of things that I'm going to give the pool installer that we don't encroach in any
We
of
would
their
just
land.
like a copy of that because
Absolutely.
DEW was just requesting that we try to get something from DEC before
That's not
acting.
the original, is it?
Absolutely not.
Good. Good. Let me ask you, how deep is this pool?
It's going to be 40 feet deep now. It's 8 foot deep. It's going to be 8 foot deep. If they, because it's high water.
Go back. Yeah.
Might as well lighten it up a little bit.
I don't blame you. I don't blame
It's
you.
going to be 8 foot deep at the deepest end, I believe, and it'll start off at 3.5 feet, and it's for the children.
Do you realize the water table's only 8 feet?
Well, my installer realizes that, and he assures me that it won't be an issue. But if it is that much of an issue, guess what? It's not going to be 8 feet deep. So it may end up being 6 feet or 4 feet deep by the time we're done.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Gentlemen?
No question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's mine, you can't have that.
This goes in here? All right. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
It's really moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next case is case 16420, James Kajema, 5 Tiffany Lane, Smithtown location, at southeast corner of Tiffany Lane and Gorman Lane, Smithtown Property Zone R10. Variance to reduce the minimum rear yard from 50 feet to 33 for an existing 376 square foot deck.
That's
Now we got
correct.
the right file.
Yes. I thought those pictures looked familiar. I have the notarized letters.
Yes, please bring it to Mr. Hans.
Hopefully everything was clear cut for you. I bought the house in
Oh, wait a
2003.
minute. Don't make me. First of all, let me have your name and address.
James Congema, Congema, and I'm at 5 Tiffany Lane.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I bought the house in 2003. The deck that was there was pre-existing, and the previous owners were supposed to take care of the permit. Apparently, they filed for the permit but didn't file for the variance. So the permit was originally denied. I had no idea until I got a knock at the door. So I'm here just to follow up, and I applied for the variance.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, it's the deck has been there since we bought it in '03. I don't know how long before that, but nobody's complained. It doesn't. There's no substantial effect. It enhances the beauty of the house. We couldn't make it any smaller because we wouldn't be able to fit a table on it. Other than that, I have nothing to add.
Okay. Planning? Gentlemen?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next case is case 16421, Michael Buscarino, 153 Brookside Drive, Smithtown location, east side of Brookside Drive, south of Brook Lane, Smithtown, property zone R21. Request variance to reduce the minimum front yard from 50 feet to 40. Reduce the minimum side yard from 16 feet to 9. Reduce total side yard from 34 feet to 19 for proposed 2-story and 1-story additions, approximately 3,100 square feet, and covered porches.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. My name is Vincent Tremarco. I represent the applicant. I've submitted the affidavits of posting and mailing to Peter Hans. I know some of you on the board visited the site, and if you did, or even from the pictures that are submitted, the original house was built in 1955, and I think it's basically the same as it was then. And in 1955, the idea was to build a Cape Cod with an expansion attic, and people, as their families grew, extended their living space into the attic. Well, as you can see, it's a rather small house with no garage, and the expansion that was done years ago certainly isn't enough for my client. My client and his wife live at the house right now with 4 children. I know they have 4 because they came to my office and had a good time there. Basically, we're asking for this addition and alteration for a number of reasons, the most important of which is my client's mom, Carol Ann Buscarino, who suffers from ALS, and she's here tonight to see what I'm doing and make sure I do it right. Anyway, I'd like to submit a letter from Mrs. Buscarino's lawyer, doctor, and basically it says that she needs constant care and constant supervision. So the idea is that Michael and Nicole Buscarino would like their parents Carol Ann and Mr. Boscarino to come and live with them. And the idea being that they all sit and eat at one table. If you look at the plans, you'll see there's a bedroom, a sitting room, and a bathroom, a handicap bathroom, which obviously will be used by Mr. and Mrs. Boscarino Sr., the mom and the dad. Additionally, the addition is sorely needed for the son and the mom, Michael and Nicole, because they have no room for themselves and their 4 kids. So there's 2 good reasons we're asking for this variance. I'm also going to submit letters of approval. Letters of approval or no objection from the neighbors on either side. I need the original that is in the envelope from the document.
Perfect, yep. Great.
So if you did examine the plans, you'll see that it's one kitchen. Everybody eats at the same table. And the only request that we're asking for is a side yard variances because the lot is only 100 feet wide. It's 400 and something feet deep, so it's very deep, but it's not wide. And we really can't put the addition going to the rear yard. There are cesspools there are trees. It just doesn't make good sense to do it. And I think a property on Brookside Drive with a front yard, a side yard setback and a front yard setback really would not have any adverse effect on the neighborhood. It wouldn't be a detriment to nearby properties. As you see, the 2 nearby properties are Mr. Boscarino's neighbors, and they have no objection. Can it be achieved by some other method? In this case, it really can't. The best way to do this alteration is the way we have it planned. Is the variance substantial? Not really. We're requesting a couple of side yards and again, 1 side yard and a total side yard and the front yard. The proposed variance, will it have an adverse effect on the environment? Absolutely not. There's plenty of lot area and square footage contained in this property, so the only effect it will have is that we will, if this board is so inclined to grant the variance, will allow Mr. and Mrs. Boscarino Sr., specifically Carol Ann, to be in the same house along with her husband, with her son and daughter-in-law, and her grandchildren. Was the alleged difficulty self-created? No, it wasn't. We haven't done any alterations yet. We're asking this board for its favorable consideration. I do have the architect here tonight if you have any questions. Thank you.
Planning, any questions?
No, nothing other really than, we looked at the floor plans. It truly looks like additions. It doesn't meet the definition of a mother-daughter, so a special exception's not necessary. Other than that, it looks good.
Okay, thank you. Gentlemen.
No, thanks.
No.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Is ready to move the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next case is case 16422, Frank James, 32 Rogers Lane, Smithtown. Location, west side of Rogers Lane, south of Parnell Drive, Smithtown, property zone R10. Request variance to increase the minimum distance from it's from the rear lot line from 6 feet to 0, and from the side lot line from 6 to 4 for an existing 90 square foot shed. May I have your name, please?
Ina McCumber.
And Ina, where is Mr. James?
Well, he's back there, but I have his power of attorney. I am the prior owner.
Okay, first of all, I need the attorney to look at your power of attorney.
Absolutely.
That's good. Okay, may I have your name, please, now?
Ina McCumber, MACOMBER. I live at 17 Graces Way, Center Reach.
All right, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I bought this house 4 years ago as a newly divorced woman. And when I bought the house, it had an above-ground pool, it had a shed, and it had a deck. Lived there for 3 years, never did anything to the house. Was getting married, and I went to sell the house to Mr. James and his lovely wife. A few weeks prior to closing, all these issues came up. Where's the CO for the pool? Where's the variance for the deck? All this stuff that was never brought up when I bought the house 3 years ago, and everything was still there. So
Your bank never picked it up, and your attorney
bank,
never
Wells
picked
Fargo never picked it up. My attorney never picked it up. The title company never picked it up. All news to me. So I had to put $10,000 in escrow to take care of all these issues, and that's why I'm here, to take care of the variance for the shed. I have no idea how long the shed was there. It was there when I purchased the house from Mr. and Mrs. Conway, who still live in Smithtown at Brookside Drive. It is a true shed. We're not housing anybody in the shed. I don't think, Frank, you've moved anybody in, right? We keep some dirt in there and, stuff. And it's a little too close to the line, I guess, but it's been there, and I don't think any of the neighbors are in disagreement with it. That's pretty much my story, unless you have any questions.
Planning? Gentlemen? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
It's ready, move second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Next case is 16423. Kevin and Melissa Hallahan, 25 Ardmore Place, Kings Park location, east side of Ardmore Place, north of Sharon Drive, Courts, Kings Park, property zone R10. Request variance, reduce the minimum side yard from 12 feet to 6. Reduce total side yards from 28 feet to 19 for a proposed 20 by 32 in-ground swimming pool.
Hi.
And your name?
My name is Melissa Hallahan, 25 Ardmore Place, Kings Park, New York, 11754.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we are requesting the variance to reduce the side yard for a swimming pool, a proposed swimming pool. We did consider putting the pool in the backyard. However, the property is a very funny shape since we're on a curve. And also, we, about 4 or 5 years ago, buried the electrical lines because we're a ranch house. They hung very low in the yard, and the kids would always hit it with the ball, so it always made us nervous. So we spent the money to put them underground. However, where they had to put them underground from the LIPA pole to where they connected to the house, it actually cuts the backyard completely in half. Therefore, we do not meet the clearance, the required LIPA clearance in the backyard anywhere from those buried electrical lines. So the only possible place to put the pool is in the side yard, and since it is a large side yard, it would fit nicely over there. It doesn't, we do have a letter from the neighbor which connects to that piece of property directly, Baratini. This is the letter. Stating that he doesn't have a problem with
Okay, thank you.
and I don't feel it would have any effect on the neighboring properties or be out of character for the area.
Thank you. Planning? Gentlemen? You are removing the shed?
Yes, that shed was there when we purchased the house, and it is being removed when we put the pool in.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
Is
you.
there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Ready, move in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Dave, you want to ask Mr. Dina Kolick to come in? Ask Jean to come in, please. Okay, next case is case 1-15880, General Properties LLC. Location, west side of Arlington Avenue, south of Rutherford Street, St. James, property zone LI and R21. Request a rehearing to modify a condition of approval for special exception uses, trucking station, fuel storage, and parking in residence district, dated March 23rd, 2010, that prohibits parking in the resident district existing 2,200 square foot parking area.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, Chairwoman, members of the board. Appearing on behalf of the applicant, Eugene L. DiNicola, 200 Railroad Avenue, Sayville, New York. Madam Chairwoman, let the record reflect that I have submitted the affidavit of posting, in fact, two. One for April 26th, when the hearing was scheduled, and then there was a publication glitch, and one for this evening, as well as the affidavit of notification with the return receipts for April 26th. Now, the applicant is requesting modification of a condition of approval for special exception uses, one of which prohibited parking in the residence district portion of the applicant's property. Now, pursuant to a decision rendered by this board dated March 24, 2010, case number 15880, which approved special exception uses for trucking station, fuel storage, and parking in residence district with conditions, the applicant is requesting a modification of condition number 1, which prohibits structures, parking, or storage in the residence district portion of the applicant's property. Now, I have a diagram which I would like to submit to the board to follow as I make my presentation.
I'll take them, and I'll pass them out. Thank you.
The diagram shows a portion of the site which is located in the residence district portion of the applicant's property, and it's highlighted in yellow, which the applicant wishes to continue using for truck parking. As you will note on that diagram, I have made some markings. The area has been used for parking of trucks since the inception of the use at the site in 1969. The area highlighted is approximately 2,200 square feet and is bordered on the north by a masonry wall. North of the masonry wall to the asphalt driveway to the north is a steep grade of approximately 12 to 14 feet. You will note on the diagram at the bottom, there is language that says metal platform with a roof overhang. This is where the fuel oil trucks load the tanker trucks for delivery of home heating fuel. The asphalt pavement, which is noted, is a containment area. The trucks go onto the containment area. The overhead, there's an overhead spigot or spout which puts fuel into the truck. And of course, we have two very large tanks at the western portion of the property in a much lower grade, which again have been there probably for some 40 years. The trucks must be able to access the loading platform. However, if trucks must remain in the industrial zone, and you'll notice there's to the right of the highlighted area, there's a line, and then there's R21 on the north side and LI, light industry, on the south side of the line. Now, that zoning line traverses the applicant's property, and it is only, again, the portion, the highlighted portion that of the R21 zone that the applicant is requesting that he be continued to permit parking of the fuel oil trucks. Now, I have an arrow, it's in blue, or a line with little arrows in blue, which indicate the manner in which the fuel oil trucks must access the loading platform to have adequate turn area to line up with the oil filler at the loading platform. Due to the severe grade change and the existence of the masonry wall at the upper level of the property, and I'm sure the board has viewed this property as they always do, and you'll notice the grade changes that go to the north from the masonry wall and also to the west down to the large storage tanks. There is a substantial grade change of anywhere, and I'm just guesstimating, it would be between 12 and perhaps as much as 18 to 20 feet on the west side. So you really can't go beyond that, the height, the upper portion of the applicant's property. So the maximum area of intrusion into the residential zone portion of the property would be that 2,200 square feet, as again highlighted. Now, you'll notice a dimension 25 feet from the highlighted area. That would be the length of a truck if it had to park in the LI district, which would preclude access or the ability of trucks to make the turn, enter the property, make the turn, and go to the loading platform. Also, if you extended that line, the 25-foot line, easterly, it actually blocks, or it lines up with the southerlymost portion of the gate. The property has an ingress at that gate. That's the entrance, and then the trucks load up and they go out the southerly curb cut, which is an exit only. The area requested for parking in the residence zone of the subject site is minimal, consisting of, as I indicated, approximately 2,200 square feet of area, or 0.0186%, or less than 2% of the total parcel. The parcel is 117,858 square feet, or 2.71 acres. The proposed area of parking is only 5.8% of the residence portion of the property, again, assuming the residence portion of the property is approximately 37,860 square feet. The parking of trucks in this site has existed on the site for some 42 years, excuse me, and there has been no adverse impact to any adjacent properties. Based on my presentation this evening and the prior hearings before this board, held on September 22nd, 2009, and November 24, 2009, which I respectfully request be incorporated into this hearing this evening.
Doing
And I would request that the application be approved. As there will be no undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood, it will be the exact same as it has been for the past 42 years. In fact, there will be an improvement because the applicant is willing to plant on the north side of that masonry wall, so we could put some pines or something that would grow. It is a natural area on the grade going down to the drive that is a graduated drive down to the large fuel storage tanks at the west side of the property. There will be no detriment to nearby properties. The benefit which the applicant seeks can be granted by this board. I mean, there's an alternative to go for a change of zone to the industrial, but I think it would be more feasible for this board to grant this minor relief that the applicant is seeking for some 2,200 square feet, just so these trucks can be out of the way of the access to the oil loading platform. The request is certainly not substantial. We're talking less than 2% of the overall property, and 5.8% of the R21 zone. There will be no adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. It has existed for some 42 years in its present condition, and there certainly will be no detriment to the health, safety, or welfare of the community if the request this evening is approved by this board. The property, of course, has a burden, which was discussed in the prior hearings, that burden being the substantial portion of the R21 zone that intrudes into the LI zone. But it has existed without incident, to the best of my knowledge, and there will be improvements based upon the prior offers of the applicant and the proposed site plan, which has been submitted to the Planning Department for its consideration to the Board of Site Plan Review. Madam Chairwoman, members of the board, I would respectfully request that this minor relief be granted to the applicant for the efficient operation of the site. Thank you.
Thank you. Planning?
The only comment I really have is the Board of Zoning Appeals approved the application March of last year. In May, the applicant submitted to the Board of Site Plan Review. At this time, all departments have recommended approval. So in the Board of Site Plan Review stage, we're at the 11th hour. We were ready to bring it to the town board. A secret recommendation was done on the site plan. We brought this to Mr. DiNicola's attention, and he said he couldn't live with it. We stated that if you can't abide by that condition of the Board of Zoning Appeals, you must go back to the board. So that's why he's there. But as far as the Board of Site Plan Review, we're basically in a holding pattern for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Thank you. Gentlemen, any questions at this time?
No. Well, the only question I have is the Board of Site Plan Review has approved this plan or the previous plan? Well, they're considering.
This plan here that shows, no trucks over the zoning line in compliance with the BZA condition. I guess at the last minute, his client looked at the plan and said, wait a minute, I can't have trucks there? And he said, that's correct. And approached his attorney.
Okay. Okay.
We couldn't operate the oil filler platform with the trucks 25 feet into the LI district, and my client just didn't realize it at the time. If you bring the truck in from the northerly curb cut into the entrance, the trucks cannot make that swing to line up under the oil filler if trucks are parked in the LI district, because they have always been parked in that little portion of the residence zone.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
All right, is there anyone here that wants to be heard? All right, you all will have one opportunity to be heard. You understand that, right? Okay, so who's going first? You brought an attorney? Yes. Okay.
Hi, Kevin Fuchs from 50 Arlington Avenue, St. James.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay. First of all, spell your last name.
Fuchs.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Now, you would like this attorney to speak for you?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. You can sit down. Thank you.
Good evening.
May I have your name, please?
Doreen J. Schindel from Doreen J. Schindel and Associates, PC. Address,
Wait a minute, please. Spell your last name.
S as in Sam, H-I, N as in Nancy, D as in David, E-L.
Okay. And your address, please.
199 East Main Street.
Yes. Okay. Can you just wait 1 minute, please?
Sure.
Okay.
Change it to
Which